no way you change our relationship forever.
The Gender Equality Commission expressed its sadness over what it calls the senseless murder of the 23-year-old fourth-year university law student Nosicelo Mtebeni. In a statement, the Commission urged the Ministry of Higher Education to ensure swift implementation of its recommendations regarding gender-based violence in higher education institutions. We're now joined by gender equality spokesperson Javu Baloyi, who is a spokesperson there, as I've said. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Baloyi.
Thanks for having the Commission for Gender Equality.
All right, we're obviously meeting at a very, very sensitive time following this gruesome murder of this very young student. Now, let's perhaps unpack what you do as a Section 9 institution in cases like this. What is your role? Now, in my intro, I said that in your statement as a commission, you had written to the Ministry of Higher Education ensuring that they swiftly implement some of the recommendations that you've made on gender-based violence, specifically at higher education institutions. Talk to me about what those recommendations are and what role you are playing in this crisis that we are in as a country.
Thank you very much for that profound question. We, as a commission, have done hearings with universities, not only universities, with TVET colleges, insofar as looking at issues of gender transformation and issues of gender-based violence at institutional higher learning was one of those. We had also subpoenaed some of these universities who did not want to come willingly unto us. What we have done, we made a recommendation to say they need to look at issues of gender-based violence. It is arrived at universities, and for their university was given that recommendation. Suffice to say, even yesterday we got a message from the Department of Higher Education who read our statement to say, this implementation is in place, we are moving, but the universities are not moving at the rate that they're supposed to be through their spokesperson of higher education. What we do now as a Commission for Gender Equality, we monitor the case of our late sister. We also going to be meeting with the Vice Chancellor. We are going to write with them so that we speed up, because we have got a role to play as an oversight, and it's within our CG Act, it's within our mandate, so that these things, recommendations shouldn't fall off the cracks. We need to make sure not only for TER, but all the universities that came before us, they implement this as speedily as possible, because you can see it's like a carnage in universities and TVET colleges where innocent kids are being killed in this manner, where some men think they're entitled to their bodies, they own them. And universities must help opening also gender focal points or gender focal offices, whereby issues like this can be dealt with and ventilated at universities before it gets out of hand, and also train the securities. That's our role that we need to play, because we believe every campus has got a security. What will be the role of that security when they hear commotion? Was it the first time? Do they report to the campus? Do they tell the office of the vice chancellors so that these things can be dealt with? Or do they report to the commission? Because we can also work closely. Do they go to the police and report these things to the police? That will be our role as a Commission for Gender Equality.
Now, we know that universities or institutions of higher learning are not the only place where gender-based violence is rife. I mean, even our children are not safe in their very own homes. Now, the reason I asked you that first question is because it seems like you can hold universities or institutions to account, especially those that do not follow these recommendations, because as you and I speak today, it is the second-year anniversary of Uyinene Mrwetyana. As you know, she was 19 at the time, and she was killed in Cape Town. So these incidences keep happening, and it seems to me you have that mandate to hold these institutions to higher account. I mean, 3 years ago, we saw in 2018, President Cyril Ramaphosa saying that there needs to be an establishment of the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Council. Over R1 billion was injected into that thought process, but to date we haven't seen that council. What can you do? What is your mandate in terms of holding some of these institutions to power?
I'm glad you have asked that question. We have done a study looking at recently, there's a report, is also on our website, on looking at government's response, emergency response action plan. we have realized that, there's a big disjuncture in issues of the implementation and issues of the money that, was supposed to be spent. Nobody's taking accountability. People are then, after seeing the report from the commission, they're starting to answer to say, look, we will give you an answer to this question. We have seen institutions coming before us. We have seen NPA. We have seen Justice. We have seen Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability. Then it begs the question, who answered the first questions to start with because we had something tangible coming from this department and some of the institutions. Suffice to say, the vice chancellors are also held responsible, accountable by the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, Gender-Based Violence Task Team, which our chairperson is a member, Mr. Marama Tebula. It's a member of that team, and it gives impetus to us to know that the work that is being done in the commission is going to infiltrate to the task team. That's number one. Number two, we are going to call the vice chancellors again as a commission to come and give us an update and the progress of or some of the mechanisms that they're doing at the universities. It's not going to be business as usual. We know there's COVID, but CGE has to do what it's supposed to do as per mandate. We know gender-based violence is not only an institution of higher learning, but society at large. It's also a pandemic, as per the president have said, that gender-based violence is threatening the families, the home front where people cannot monitor. We need to work together as stakeholders, which is the police that we constantly engage with. We have subpoenaed them twice and called them once. They came before us. And we need to work as people of this country. We know these things are happening, but we keep quiet. And we know the violators, we know the abusers, but we're not saying anything that much. And that is a problem of what is silence that we have. Our silence as citizenry of this country is deafening. Hence, we at times it looks like we're fighting a losing battle, but we hope, as per the reports and the recommendation of the commission, we will win this war.
Now, you mentioned the police and the fact that you are also in engagement with them. We know that just recently statistics, revealed that 10,000 women were raped between April and I think June of this year alone. But we know that number is probably not even accurate because a lot of women are afraid to report these cases because there are no safe structures, even at police stations. What are you hearing is happening on the ground? And how can we hold the police to account so that they can also create safe spaces for women to be able to report these crimes?
We're very much aware that unreported cases of GBV are very more. Because we have got rural provinces like Limpopo, Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, and Mpumalanga, where they are far-flung, the police stations are far. What we have done is a Commission for Gender Equality, which is working very well in some areas. We are engaging the police in provincial offices, in the MECs, to build capacity for them. One of the mistake that they do, the police, is that a novice from training college cannot deal with a gender-based violence case. You need someone who will know what it takes for these cases to be dealt with, to be prosecuted, so that they don't leave anything for chance. Some of them, they are removed on technicality. Some of them, it's on issues of secondary victimization. When the women go to the police station to report this, they're being asked questions as if they're the ones that committed this crime. Look at the Omotoso case. And another thing, my sister, what is very key, the 32 designated courts, which the president has mentioned, should be open in rural provinces. And that will help us tremendously, because this will be cases that deals with these unscrupulous people who do not deserve. We also need to look at the ways that these people, when they go to prison, they get education, they come back with PhDs, and then their cases are expunged. We're saying they're rehabilitated. What about the families of Uinen? What about the families of Karabo? What about the families of Precious Ramabulani? So those are the things that, we need to dialogue as a country, that are these rights it's also not exceeding too much for the prisoners, because these are the brutal people in society, yet we are giving them recognition, heroes welcome. When they pass matric, we even announce in the papers and give them a shout out for passing that. But we forget the dead bodies, we forget about the families that are robbed of their family members because of this unscrupulous people who we don't believe as a commission they belong in society. They belong to be locked away and then do hard time like it used to be done before, so that society can change. And also this leniency of giving them concurrent sentences, it's not helping us. You'll find that there's inconsistency in the sentencing. Someone in the Free State will be sentenced to life sentence, but someone in Gauteng will be sentenced to 6 years sentence for the same crime that they've committed. The systemic issues within justice must also be looked at.
Mr. Baloyi, thank you so much for your time. It is evident from your interview today that there is still a lot of work that needs to be done. A very sad reality for South Africa, especially on what is supposed to be Women's Month. But thank you so much for your time, Mr. Javu Baloyi from Gender Equality Commission. All right, let's move on to this now. Speculation is rife that ANC Women's League President Bathabile Dlamini will be served with a summons to appear before a court and will be prosecuted for perjury. The charges relate to her testimony during an inquiry into the social grant crisis by the Constitutional Court in 2018. However, the National Prosecuting Authority in Gauteng has declined to comment on this matter. Spokesperson Pindim Jonondwana says they are not in a position to divulge any information on the matter. She says all processes need to first be followed by the NPA, the police and the Hawks. All right, we'll have more of your top stories when we return. Stay with us. This is SA Today.
Professionals stick to stainless steel cookware, but unfortunately so does food. Introducing the revolutionary Bauer Duotech pan. It combines a durable stainless steel exterior and an amazing non-stick coating, an aluminium core for even heat, and ultra apex design for the ultimate cooking experience. Forgot milk on the stove? With Bauer, it simply wipes out and pancakes release with just a gentle blow. Bauer works on any cooking surface and is guaranteed to last. Get your Bauer Duotech pan from your nearest Verymark store today.
Consistent, unrelenting revolution is a marvel to capture and share with the rest of the world, where women like me are leading the fight against patriarchy, dismantling inequality in all of its forms, even in the media industry. I am seen and I am heard. What a time to be alive.
Being a young woman in South Africa today means that I'm privileged enough to know my rights